Hey, what is up, friends and family? Welcome to the Dumb Cunt vlog. And why is it called that? I thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. You may assume it's because I am, in fact, a dumb cunt, but you couldn't be more wrong. I'm actually very, very smart. You see, a dumb cunt is yourself. And why are you a dumb cunt? Because you're watching this bullshit. I'm just gonna sit here in my messy room. I didn't even try to clean it up because this is really how we live out here. This is really how we live out here. And I'm gonna talk at this camera for an hour because I feel like it, and you'll listen because basically you're fucking stupid. But with that out of the way, I've been playing a lot of Factorio this week, and it happens every year or so. I get like the urge to play Factorio again, and then for like a few days my life just becomes dedicated to building a virtual factory. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It's pretty strange. I spent like 12 hours the past 2 days just like playing this goddamn game, and then spending like every free time looking up like other ways to like more efficiently play this goddamn game. And it's not like I don't have anything else to do. There's plenty of stuff I could be doing. Like, I'm moving to Melbourne. I've got, like, shows coming up. I've got, like, music to be releasing. I could be promoting my music. But, like, none of that's... I don't want to say it's as fun, because that stuff is really fun. That stuff is really fun. Whereas playing a video game is really fucking boring. But, like, it's so engaging for your brain in those, like, that time while you're playing it, that like it like blocks out everything else. It's like taking a Xanax, like you take a Xanax 6 hours later, you're like, what, where am I? It's like that. It's like Xanax for your brain. Factorio. Like, I'll sit down, I'll play, I'll be like, oh, I just gotta build this, just gonna do this, just gonna connect that, and then, oh shit, where'd the sun go? It's 6 hours later. Then I'll go to bed, wake up, and play some more Factorio, and like, it's a problem, and I know it's a problem. I know it's a problem, which is why I haven't let myself got too far deep into it. And there was years of my life that I lost to video games, and these days the trade-off just isn't there. It's what they call like what do they call it? Who cares what they call it? But you can like. You're programmed, the human brain is programmed to like just sit around, eat fast food, and do drugs for like your whole life. And like, 'cause that's what sends off the pleasure signals in your brain. It's like, oh yeah, just keep doing this, unless there has like any other reason to not do that. So for example, like you could sit around and do drugs your whole life and then realize, oh shit, no woman's ever gonna fuck me if I'm a piece of shit. I'd better like get my shit together, better go to the gym, do this, get a job, whatever. But, like, you will only be able to force yourself to do something more difficult if there's, like, a better reason for you to do it. And the thing is that, like, even though I do find so much resistance to, like, just starting tasks, like bullshit tasks, I love creating, but then there's so much shit, like, just, like, tech-related bullshit. Trying to get, like, the video aspect ratio to work on my projects, just dumb, minute bullshit. Like, today I had to, put together some canvases for my music on Spotify for my manager to upload. And like, that shit's not fun. That's just going through my old videos, cutting and splicing it on like open source, which is a terrible program to use because I'm too cheap to buy a real video editing program. And like, yeah, just basically like spending half the time fighting with the computer rather than actually getting anything useful done. But at the end of the day, like, I sit back and I looked at the shit that I created and I was like, yeah, like, I made these clips and they're going to be on my Spotify for like no one to listen because no one listens to my music. But if anyone was to ever listen to my music, then I would see the videos there that I clipped up and made. And, it brings a sense of accomplishment. But when I look back at the 12 hours I spent playing Factorio, like, I mean, there's no sense of accomplishment there. Like, there is, and when you're in the moment, you're thinking like in your head, like you're part of the simulacrum, like oh yeah, like I've just connected this blue belt to this red belt, and I just got this like oil processing to work. It's like, bruh, like I didn't do any oil processing. Like I don't know how to process goddamn oil. I just like push some buttons on a computer to watch an animation happen. That's like what I came to that realization a few years ago. It's like all video games are is you're pushing buttons on a computer to see an animation. That's it. That's all video games. And when I'm like caught up in the moment, I'm like, oh, look at how big my factory's growing. Look at all this shit I've done. But then as soon as I take a step back, it's like, yeah, I haven't done shit. I spent like 12 hours and I have absolutely nothing to show for it. But in some sense, I think that's what's so attractive about the game and about just these stupid, mindless hobbies, you know. And I do think it's like somehow essential because like even though I've cut down video games a lot since like my peak of playing them, like they've never really gone away, and I wouldn't want them to because like there is like something that's so like viscerally fun about being in the moment and not giving a single fuck about anything that actually matters. The only thing you care about is growing that goddamn factory, and that shit in the moment, so fucking fun. It's like I wouldn't give up drugs. Why would I give up video games either? You just gotta find that balance. But what I think is most satisfying about it is the fact that it's completely pointless. That's what I think is the satisfying thing. Because, like, say, for example, like, I have this idea for a song and I don't write it, and then 40 years later I'm looking back at my music career, what it could have been. Or like better example, me moving to Melbourne. Say like, you know, like, oh, it's too scary, I don't know anyone there, maybe I'll die of COVID or some bullshit, and I just stay in Perth, stay working at my bullshit job for the rest of my life, and I'll be fine. I don't necessarily wouldn't be happy, but I'd be comfortable. Like, I got friends here, I'd probably like have a family, but I'd be looking back always like, oh, what could have been if I had have done this. But like doing that shit is scary, and that's like what puts us in the way. But like when you play a video game, it's like simulates doing all this amazing stuff, like, you know, whether building a factory or fighting in a war or anything, like being like a fantasy character in an RPG. It's simulating these things, but with no real danger of like anything ever actually going wrong. And so, like, you can take the L, you can lose in a video game, and it doesn't affect your life whatsoever. Like, so if my, like, hard drive had crashed when I was, like, 12 hours building this factory, like, I mean, I'd be pissed, but, like, a few days later, like, I probably wouldn't even give a fuck. I'd probably either be, like, obsessed with a different video game or, like, literally anything else because it's, like, so meaningless to my actual material life. As opposed to, like, if my hard drive crashes and I lost all of the music that I'd, like, finished working on. Like, luckily, like, it's all finished now. It's done, so I don't have to worry about that. But if I'd almost finished a project and then, like, hard drive crashes, like, you know, that would be painful. Like, because it represents something real in the real world. It represents a tangible loss. And, like, then being in part of this video game world where, like, you can make believe that you're, like, doing these amazing things, but having no real actual, like, risk of anything adverse happening to you. I think that's what's so addictive about it, really. Like, the fact, like, that I know it's pointless and I know it's bullshit, but that's the reason why it's fun. Got a quote that popped up on my Facebook because I got this newsfeed eradicator, which blocks the newsfeed from my Facebook because, you know, that shit's nothing but trash. You don't need that in your life. I still use Facebook for, like, you know, promoting and marketing and social media and all that bullshit. But I do my best to avoid the newsfeed as much as possible. But, like, even then, even just being on Facebook to do the marketing is still draining as fuck because, like, you know, I'm always worried every time I make a post where it's like, you know, like, oh, look at this cool thing I done, and it gets, like, 2 likes or whatever. I'm always like, oh, you know, very sad. And I've heard before, like, especially the way the newsfeed works is that, like, you're comparing your every single post against, like, because, like, it shows the best posts that people have made. Like, it doesn't show, like, the 10 posts that have failed. It shows the one post that got, like, a bunch of likes, and that's the one that's shared to you where you don't see the rest. But, like, you know, it gets to you, and that's why I do my best to avoid it. Like, can't always avoid it. Like, I do every few days, like, slip back into the news feed, and sometimes, you know, every now and then I see a funny meme that I like, oh, click save, send that to the homies. I see something like some funny social drama, but more often than not, I just find shit that makes me angry, and that's another weird addiction. Like, sometimes I'll, like, go out of my way to look for things to make me outraged, just so I can be angry at something, and That's probably not healthy, is it? It's probably not a good thing to be doing. And I wonder why that's the case. Like, why would we go out of the way to look for things to be outraged at? It's probably fulfilling some sort of like deep social need that we had when we were tribe animals that we don't get to fulfill anymore. Especially now it's COVID, where like, everyone's staying home, and even here in WA, it's still like, not what it was before. Like, still everything much more isolated. And it ain't going back anytime soon by the looks of it. And back in the day, I'm sure you'd like want to look out for like anything that was like socially offensive that anyone in your tribe was doing, because at that point it actually mattered. Like if the tribe of like 20, 30 people wasn't like a cohesive unit in the winter, like you'd die. So that was like, it was like essential. But we don't like see that need anymore, especially living in a city where like you can theoretically like piss off like anyone you can just walk on the street and be a complete asshole to like random ass people, and then like never have it affect you ever, because there's just so many fucking people. And even if you were an asshole, like who's gonna remember that, because you see like a new asshole every day. Like I saw on my way to work today, I saw some asshole, like it was like regular like fat like Eshe type cunt with like a mullet and all that bullshit, like arguing with another mate at like a traffic light very loudly. And he looks like very similar to some guy that tried to start on me in the train once. Like I was literally just sitting on the train and the seats were facing forward, and I was looking forward because the seats were facing forward, like literally like zoning out, not paying attention to anything. And this guy was yelling. He's like, "Oi, oi, you!" And like I didn't react, because why would he be talking to me? I was just sitting there doing nothing. He's like, "Oi, you cunt! Why are you looking at me?" And like I still didn't react. I was like, "Yeah, you! Why are you looking at me?" And I'm like, "What, man? I'm not like." The seat is facing this way and your seat is facing that way, and you're like a whole carriage. He's like down the other end of the carriage, like yelling at me. And it's like, mate, you're not that pretty. I didn't say that. No, that would have gone badly. I just said, I'm not looking at you. And like, I don't know, man. He keeps going up with the same bullshit. He's like chilling with his mate there too. Like, I don't know, just talking some random ass bullshit. And I just say to him, like, I mean, I'm having a good night. I'm just trying to chill. I'm just like, "Oh, are you having a good night?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, just had a few beers." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool, man. Like, I'm glad you're having a good night. I'm having a good night too." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, it's not going to be such a good night after I beat your ass, cunt." And it's like, mate, is this fucking necessary? Like, he was like drinking on the train too, which like, I don't care if you're going to do that, but don't be a fucking cunt. I mean, like, like, it looks like, I don't know what his mate was doing. His mate was just sitting back. Like, if I was his mate, I probably wouldn't have talked up either. Like, this is like a big-ass cunt. Big-ass dude. And he just keeps talking shit. Like, I just ignore him after that. Like, I tried to de-escalate the situation, but after that, I mean, like, I'm just doing my thing. I'm just, like, trying to ignore him as much as possible. But, like, I'm still, like, looking forward because that's the way my seat's facing. And, like, now you see, like, if I look away after he's made a point about it, then I'm a cuck. And, like, I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't show myself to be a cuck to some random-ass dude on the train who probably can and will beat my ass. No, I gotta keep looking straight ahead, and so that's what I did. Like, I'm not looking at him. I'm just looking straight, and, like, he's, like, over there. He's like, "Why are you looking at me?" It's like, whatever. And he just keeps talking shit. Like, eventually, like, another woman on the train carriage gets worried, and she pushes the button to, like, call the driver, and she, like, says, like, "Oh, yeah, there's, like, people here causing trouble." And, like, some security guards get on at the next platform, and they talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you guys all right?" And he's like, "Oh, no, all right, we're just chill, whatever." And, like, didn't even take their booze. Like, they just, like, yeah, security guys walked on, yeah, all right, walked right back off, and then straight again, back into, they're like, "Oh, you're a fucking cunt, I'm gonna kick your ass." And, like, eventually, like, I was getting to the stop where I was going to, like, the dude walks up to me, and he's like, "Why are you looking at me?" It's just the same bullshit. The same fucking bullshit. It didn't go anywhere. And look, at this point, like, I was just like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, whatever. I'm sorry for offending you." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, no, it's all good, but just gotta watch out yourself. Like, you look at the wrong person, might get beat up." And then I got off the train, and, like, nothing happened. And, It was just such a like. I remember I was overhearing this conversation. I think like he like literally got out of jail like a week before. He was talking about just getting out of jail. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder why. I wonder how long that's gonna last. But it's like so fucking weird. But yeah. So that's one of the cunts I thought I saw today. But like, even if that was him, like my brain was like, oh yeah, that's the cunt from the train. That's the guy. But like, I don't know. It could just be another random fat Eshe mullet cunt. I mean, that's like every second person out here. Who's to say? So, that is interesting though. So I guess like being outrage porn, yeah, outrage porn. That's what it is. Porn for your outrage circuits in your brain on social media is what takes the place of that in our modern society. I've been drinking this tea because I law of attraction myself into being sick this week. How does that happen? How did I manage that, you ask? Well, thank you for asking. You see, I got drunk on Saturday night. It was lit, and then I was supposed to work Sunday morning, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go home early, which I did reasonably early. I went home at like 10 p.m., but then I was just like too drunk to sleep. And I was just like sitting in my bed talking to bitches until like 2 in the morning, and woke up at like 8. No, I didn't even get to sleep. I was like, my head was just spinning. I was just lying in bed, like not sleeping. I tried to smoke some weed to go to sleep, but that didn't help. And like, I went to bed for like, I had like the weirdest ass dream. I had like a dream that I was like a dog, and everyone just kept trying to force me to do shit, like trying to force me to go for a walk when I didn't want to, or force me to do this, or force me to do that. And I like woke up and it was 7 a.m. and I was like, nah, I ain't going to work. I ain't going to work, cunt. This is not happening. So I called a sickie, and then I had a pretty good day. Still hungover, but just like chilled out. It was good. And then Monday comes around, and you know, well, I mean, it was pretty good not working on Sunday. What if I just didn't go to work again today? They already think I'm sick, so I called in a sick again. And what do you know? It works like a charm. Then recorded the podcast on Tuesday, went out again, come around to Wednesday, and like, I mean, like hungover again, but I'm not gonna bail this time because like I actually do need money. So I went to work, but yeah, funny story. Like my login at work was broken for like some random reason because of like we'll get to that story. We'll get to that story. But my login at work was broken, so I had nothing to do. So they had to send me home, but I still got paid for 3 hours because unions. So that was pretty sick. But then I got home and I started like, oh, I'm starting to feel pretty sick. I mean, I had like the nose going, I had the throat going. I literally like spent 2 days pretending I was sick, and then 2 days later, I'm actually sick. So then Thursday comes around, and I actually have to like call in sick legitimately this time. And Friday, yeah, I'm feeling better now, but you know, I still got the nose, still got the throat situation. It's a pretty common springtime thing, I reckon. Like any time, like the weather can't decide if it's hot or cold. My body just goes, you know. Are we like in the winter? My body like closes up, you know. And to keep me warm, then in the summer, like everything opens up. But like in the meantime, there's like a bunch of gunk in my nose and throat that needs to get out of there. Yeah, but the tea, this is saving my life to be sure. To be sure. Ooh, it's hot, hot, hot. So yeah, my fucking login at work, right? It was I work at a big ass company, and it's so big that like no one there like is no one person is in control of how the entire thing works. It's kind of like it's just like too big to fail, you know what I mean? It's so fucking complicated, and there's like an IT department and there's a security department, and like the IT department like runs all like the internal programs, which there are so many of. There's like so many different internal programs that are like specific to this company that like no one outside the company would ever have seen or ever even know how to use. And this shit has been like going since the 80s, so they're like on old DOS style screens. And every time there's like a new addition, they just keep adding a new different thing onto the same system, so it just gets bloated as fuck. And sometimes these interactions like just like break with each other, and then like no one knows how to fix it, and all you can do is like just send a support ticket to someone else who I've never even met. Like I don't even like I go in there And like half the problems I get given, like I literally can't solve because I'm not trained. All I have to do is like pass them along. And then there's like so many problems that get passed on to me, and it's like the exact same bullshit. Like get paid all right though. I mean, it pays pretty good. So I mean, like, I don't really care if I'm not actually doing anything because, well, I'm not there for my health. I'm not there for entertainment. Like I said it before that like this is by far the best job I've ever had. Like there's so much nothing I do at this job. So a lot of the job is like I can just process shit on the computer, like Excel spreadsheet stuff, and like that takes zero effort because it's the same thing over and over again. And like I answer calls, but if I work at night, then nobody fucking calls. So I just sit there, listen to music, listen to podcasts, watch the stocks go up or down, and yeah, it's pretty lit. Look out the window, but yeah, go in today, and they're rolling out like some new two-factor authentication code for like the login, and they apparently sent me an email about it, but because I was sick for 2 days, I didn't see it, and sick, and then I go in there on Wednesday, and I can't log into my computer, and like I can't fix the problem because I can't even log into the computer to begin with. And I can't answer my security questions because, like, because who the fuck can? Like, fuck me. So, yeah, it was a load of crap, but also no one at the office actually knew how to fix this goddamn problem because this is something that, like, the security department put in, and they, like, work 9 to 5, and then I go there, like, from 5 p.m., and they're like, this is a thing that they're apparently rolling out to, like, everybody at the company, like, at random-ass times, and I just happened to be the first one that ever received this thing. So, like, no one had ever seen this problem before. And there was, like, nothing there to do. Like, I literally, like arts and crafts. Like, the manager gave me some, like, fucking, like, laminated paper to cut into little shapes. And then she was, like, judging me because my cutting wasn't very good. And, like, first of all, I'm left-handed, so, like, the world is not made for people like me. But second of all, like, the last time I've been cutting was primary school, mate. Like, I don't practice this. Like, she said, like, oh, you're not very good at this. And I was like, yeah, I don't get much practice, hey. And she's like, well, I better make sure my son gets some more practice. So I was like, why? I mean, it's sort of what a useless tool. Like, you literally gave it to me at my useless job because I was... because you didn't want to send me home for free for, like, even though it doesn't matter. Like, it wouldn't have made any fucking difference if I had just gone home and got that money for free, or if you had kept me around to, like, cut out laminated pieces of paper for $40 an hour before tax. But I want to talk about my new manager, because I had my old manager, and he was chill as fuck, great guy, like, literally didn't give a fuck, which was awesome. And I think, like, that was the reason why he's no longer my manager, because he gave too little fucks. But I mean, that was great for me, because I also don't give a fuck. So we got along really well. We had a really good thing going. Like, both of us would show up, like, people would ask us questions, and, like, he'd ignore them and not answer them, so then I'd follow his lead, because he's the manager, so I'm just going to do what the manager does, right? So I did the exact, just like, whatever, like, listen to headphones, zone out, look out the window, look at my phone. Yeah, but the manager's doing it. So me and this manager, we were tight. We got on. Like, I mean, we didn't really get on. We didn't actually talk, like... Now, this is not the sort of guy that would talk to anyone. But once again, I'm fine. I'm 100% fine. I don't need guidance. I don't need guidance at my job. I need someone to sit there and not bother me while I also sit there and not be bothered. We had a really good thing going. So he gets moved on. Don't know what happened to him. And the new manager comes up. And once again, like, she has no idea how, like, anything actually works at this part of the department, because, like, who does? I mean, to be honest, like, even the training is not even useful. The only reason I have any idea what goes on is because I've been there for 6 months and I do the same thing every day. And even then, there's still, like, half of the shit I can't even do. I just have to, like, send it off, like, send it back in the pneumatic tube, the digital pneumatic tube for someone else to deal, like, lands on someone else's desk, and maybe they can deal with it. Who the fuck knows? Not me, not my problem. But yeah, so, because, like, you ask her a question she doesn't know, which I don't blame her for, and I don't even care, to be honest. But, she, like, you have to pick something, like, especially being the new manager, you have to pick something to be anal, and what she is anal about is, like, you gotta be there on time, but, like, which I am. I get there exactly like, my shift starts at 5:05, I get there exactly 5:05, but then, like the way to clock in, you have to first log on to your computer, and then you got to do like, go through a bunch of security administrative bullshit, and you have to like sign on to like the application that says you're at work, and then like say like, like, oh yeah, now I'm saying that I am at work. Click the button. And like that sometimes takes like between like walking in the building and signing on my computer like 5 full minutes. And which the old manager got and didn't give a fuck about, honestly. But now the new manager comes up, and she's making this a big deal now, where it's like you got to like I put in like I sent my like sent in when I was working, like, oh, I was here, start at this time, finished at that time. I sent that in, and then like come back a week later, and it's been like rejected by her, and she says like in the email like, oh, it says that you said that you started at 5:05, but on here it says you started at 5:07, and then like rejects my thing, which means I have to fill it in again. And if like I don't fill it in before like the cutoff, which is today, then I don't get paid for that day. And it's like, bitch, what the fuck? Why are we doing this? It's like 2 minutes, and like she like made a big speech during her meeting about how oh, if you do this every day, it adds up. Like, this is costing the company money. But it's like, I mean, like, first of all, it does not add up. Like, 2 minutes per day. I'm literally going to do the math right now on stream. You heard it here first. So what's $40 an hour divided by 30. That's before tax. Well, whatever. I guess. Fine. I guess, okay, so that's $1.30 for 2 minutes. $1.30. So that's 1.3 times 5 times 50. That's 5 days a week. If you were exactly 2 minutes late, which you're not actually 2 minutes late. You were there on time. It just took you 2 minutes to sign into your thing. But if you were 2 minutes late every day, for a whole year, that's $325. $325 for free a whole year. Oh god, what a grift! What a grift! You're really ripping them off, aren't you? So no, it does not add up. No, and So like I told her today, like, I mean, I was like, what happened here? What's going on? And she says like, oh well, in that case you should come to work like 2 minutes early, so then you can be signed in on the computer on that time. And it's like no. This is not what my grandfather died for in Gallipoli. Thank you very much. He didn't die so that we could come to work 2 minutes early. That is not what this nation is about. No, and like, I want to make a big point about this. I want to make a big deal because, first of all, she's the one that started it. She's the one that made this a big deal, like by coming in and like, bucking the system that me and my old manager had going when like no one would give a fuck and no one would ask any questions. Like now she's coming up and now she's like, asking questions and stuff. And she says like, oh, well, it looks bad because then my managers look down at me and say like, oh, well, like you approved his time, but it says he was here at like 5:07, not 5:05. But it's like, this is like a company-wide policy, right? Like, I mean, everyone has to sign into this goddamn thing, and it takes everyone like 2 to 5 minutes to sign into this goddamn thing. And like, your solution is just like, well, everyone should come in 2 minutes earlier. Like, no, like, why are we basing our like work and our corporate thing around like this computer program that barely even works in the first place? Like, none of these fucking computer programs work. It's a constant like running around with duct tape and band-aids, like keeping this shit together. Digital duct tape and digital band-aids here at the office factory. And so like, why? Like, is this just the accepted way to go about? Like, just for everyone to come in 2 minutes early? And like, so if you're gonna make a big deal about like all that money the company's losing, what about the money I'm losing by coming in 2 minutes early? That's $325 a year that I could be earning before tax, which is actually like $200 a year. But whatever. Jeez. But so but like, I wanted to make a big deal about this. Well, like, as big as a deal as it is, like, at least just stand up against this. But, like, I'm moving in 3 weeks' time, so, I'll be gone with this manager. There's no use, like, making making a fool out of myself in front of this manager if I'm never going to see her again, which I probably will not, especially considering like how fast managers get moved in and out of this business. Like, I mean, I'm moving to Melbourne, but like even if I was staying to Perth, like, I mean, give it like another 6 months and this one will be moved out and the next one will be moved in and the next one will be just as useless as the last one. And you know, that's just how it be sometimes. And that's cool. That's fine. I'm okay with that. This is what they pay beats literally any other job I've had except drug dealing. Drug dealing was better, but any other legal job I've ever had, this one's still the best. So I'm not gonna try and fuck it up for myself by like getting into a pointless pissing contest, because that's what it is. This is a pissing contest because like, yeah, like I said, it doesn't make money sense, and I guarantee you, like, her higher ups aren't really looking down on her. Like, this is just like new manager comes in and she wants to like, you know, make her mark. She wants to do something just so that people know that, like, you know, just to assert her dominance over the group or whatever. And like her thing is going to be everyone coming in 2 minutes early for like no real reason, but just like so that she can say that a thing's happening and then you're going to do it. And if you don't do it, she's going to deny your shifts. It's like a power thing. And like every one of these power struggles you let by is another step closer to hell, in my opinion. Which is the same reason why I kept looking straight when that cunt was yelling at me on the train. It's something that I'm trying to come to terms with recently. Like, I really do want to be less of a stick in the mud because I want to be more of a go with the flow person. Because I feel like, I don't know, I always kind of felt myself as kind of a go as the flow person, a very go with the flow type of being. But upon some self-reflection, I realized I'm actually like a very like antagonistic cunt at some points in time. And I had a big think about this because, like, there have been some people in my life, especially, like, you know, working in the drug dealing business. Like, some people, like, I was, like, running the business. I was the guy in charge, and then I had people, like, under me who would be running the drugs and collecting the money and bringing the money back to me. And a lot of them, like, you know, I gave them, like, it was very simple, you know. You go out, sell it, bring it back, no fuck arounds. If like the customers want to fuck you around, tell them, you know, see you later. I don't give a fuck because like they're not paying you there to hang around for like, oh, I just gotta go to the ATM, bruh. Because like, no, fuck that. Like, you know, try again next time. Sorry, because like if you did that every time, then everybody would be late, and then everybody would be pissed off, and then you lose all your money. So now, sorry, cut them. But there'll be like one of my employees would like just like rather than following following like the instructions of go here, go there, go there, go there, go there, they'd always want to like do their own thing and like come up with like some other fancy way. And if someone like, you know, like wasn't able to make it, they'd like come up with some new way to get the appointment. And at the end of the day, like it actually just caused more mess and more troubles than anything else because like yeah, like I said, that exact thing happened where like they'd be late and then they'd be late for the next person, then they'd be late for the next person. This just caused delays upon delays upon delays upon delays. Instead of like actually just like reading the list, going to place, doing the drop. If they're not there, fuck them. Next time, sorry, cunt. You know, instead of doing that, like they'd like, I don't know, try to do their own thing and come up with their own route and come up with their own like system of doing things. And at the end, and after a few months of doing this, like they like had a mental breakdown, being like, "Oh, this job is too hard. You're not paying me enough to do this." And like, it's fine. Like, I mean, if you don't want to do it, you can quit the job. It's fine. But also, like, I mean, no one else had a problem with this. Everyone else was like completely fine, just following the instructions. But like, because this person wanted to do their own thing and like, you know, like, the system works. Like, you know, fixing a broken clock. Like, they were driving themselves mad trying to fix a broken clock. And then, like, mad that the clock that after they were tampering it didn't run as smoothly as the one that was working already. And, like, that's, like, something, like, I was, like, stuck in my brain. Like, just being, like frustrated at this person. Like, and oftentimes I think when, like, these things are stuck in your brain, when you're, like, pissed off at some person in the past or whatever, it's, like, because there's, like, a part of that you see it in yourself, that you're actually pissed off. And like, so being pissed off at that person's a good way to like deflect from being angry at yourself. And I think that I was like a bit of a lot of an antagonistic prick, like in terms of politics, like getting involved in student politics, and just like as soon as like, you know, if someone says I couldn't do something, that's exactly what I go do. Just like, you know, with the whole selling drugs thing, like I just didn't want to work a job because like, well, jobs do suck. Not gonna lie there, but just like going out of my way to make my life harder for myself, just like to prove a point, really. And yeah, that's something that like I'm really trying to like go with the flow, pick my battles, like be brave enough to take the battles I can, but smart enough to like miss the swerve the ones that I don't need. Like for example, like if I had of like I can just come in 2 minutes early for like the next 2 weeks and it will be fine. You know, I still do believe that like if everybody just gave into these power games and the world would just go to hell real quick. But like I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to get fired from my job for like arguing about coming in 2 minutes early for 2 weeks. It's the battles, and like I don't know, that's just something that's so hard for me to like get my head around, but I'm really trying, and I do think that like trying is important. Like every time that you try to do something that you want to do, like that muscle gets bigger and stronger, and then before long you can do it without trying. But like at the start, it's going to be hard no matter what. So I'm really trying to be less of a stick in the mud, and more of a go with the flow type person. I do think though that being a stick in the mud has its place, and it's definitely necessary at times. Like I think with these COVID protests in Melbourne right now, I think that this is actually very necessary. And you see, like I like have like huge respect for these people going there like day in day out, and they get arrested and they get beaten by police and whatever. But like it's fucking necessary, because like this whole lockdown bullshit, it can't continue. It's fucking stupid. Like I like what they got going on in America there, where they just come to terms like, yep, COVID's a thing. It's not going away. We can't like hide from it. It's like this late stage capitalism, late stage like neoliberalism, I guess you could say, obsession with harm reduction. It's all about like trying to like reduce harm for as many people as possible, but in doing so, like it ends up just like by trying to reduce harm to such a point, you end up being the one that causes the harm, and and like we can't as a society accept that people are going to die anymore. Like that's basically what like the Western welfare state is based around. It's like, oh, we will pay for like unemployment, and we will pay for like medical treatment, and we'll pay for pensions for people to be 80, 90, 100, 110. At some point, like I mean, you just got to let it go, man. It's fear of death. It's fear. That's what it is. It's like they're talking about like how like, well, the alternative is like triaging people at hospitals, and obviously that sucks, but like you hear these cases of like people who have died of COVID. It's like the vast majority is like people who are older and people with health issues, and it's like, I mean, it could have been anything, man. It could have been anything that killed these people. Like it'd be like, I saw a newspaper article like, woman 98 dies of COVID. It's like, wow, maybe she died of being 98, man. Like please. And I'm not like, I'm vaccinated, like I do support vaccinations, but the the like overkill that the government has gone is what like is the problem. Like everyone should be free to make their own choices about how they want to deal with their own health issues, and like I 100% support like lockdowns, but the start before we had the vaccine, but now we have the vaccine and people are getting the opportunity to get the vaccine. Like you should get the vaccine, and then like you can go out without being in lockdowns, and yeah, maybe you still get COVID, but you're not going to die. That's basically what the numbers are telling us. And as opposed to like this idea where like they want to stamp it out, they want to have 0 cases. It's just not. It's not going to happen. And I don't like some people say it's like a power grab. I don't think though. I don't think this is a power grab. I think this is fear. It's fear of death, fear of harm avoidance. It's the same sort of psychology that leads people to like banning like, hate speech and shit, whatever the fuck. Like the whole PC culture is the same. It's like we just don't want people to be offended. Well, it's like it's impossible. People are going to be offended, and like if you like cancel something, they're just going to like find something else to be offended about and something else to be offended about. And that's exactly what you see now, where like as soon as you say it was like one thing is not okay, then like they just find new things to be offended about. We've got a funny one of those coming up in a second too. And it's like that with COVID. Like I mean, yeah, like we got to understand that this is not going away. There are things we can do. You can get the vaccine. What I believe is that like no lockdowns. Everyone, now that the vaccine, or especially now that the vaccine is like up to like 70% here in Australia, around the world. we're almost at the point where anybody who wanted to get a vaccine could have by now. Like, we're almost there. And which is, by the way, the exact timing I timed for my Melbourne trip. You see, like mathematically, by the time I get there, everyone's gonna be vaccinated. So like theoretically, none of these lockdowns will happen anymore. And so yeah, that's what I believe. That like after the point where anyone who could have gotten the vaccine has the vaccine, like no more lockdowns, no more restrictions, no more like mask mandates. But if you are a person who decides not to get a vaccine, then your healthcare is not paid for because, well, you know, we gave you could have got the vaccine for free, and like you fucked up because of like some bullshit beliefs you have, which is fine. You're allowed to have you're allowed to have your bullshit beliefs, and I don't respect them, but I respect your right to have bullshit beliefs. Then well, like you can't expect the taxpayer to pay for your goddamn medical treatment. Like this is a trade-off. If you do the right thing, if you get the vaccine, then you get free Medicare. If you don't, then sorry, none for you. You fucked up. Should have got the vaccine. But that would never fly. No way. I'd say that as tyranny. Because of this harm reduction bullshit that we got going on, like it has to end. We are at this. If this is not the logical conclusion of everyone locked inside their pod, eating the bugs, eating the Uber bugs, you know, like no one's even going to work anymore. Like this is not even economically sustainable. Like who's gonna like fucking like make the shit to sell to buy the food because no one makes any food anymore either. Everyone just like has a bullshit job in a city, like myself. But I like my bullshit job. Where no one actually makes any of the shit they buy, and then if the cities aren't producing anything because they're all locked down, then they're not going to have any money, and so like they're not going to be able to buy the shit from the people who actually produce stuff. This system it can't go on like factually. Like they're trying to print their way out, but like has that ever worked? I mean, geez, the markets, am I right? The goddamn markets, am I right? Live or die by the markets, won't this society? You know, that might be, that might be the only way to get out of this is like, COVID, nah, we'll take it. Yeah, no, wars, whatever, terrorism, don't give a fuck. Oh, the market crashed. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yeah, I reckon, hey. But I do support these protesters. Because like I said, I don't think the government should be in the business of dictating to people like, what you can and can't do. At the end of it, like I'm just an anti-authoritarian person, and like, yeah, you want to go out and get COVID and die, be my guest. You want to wear a mask, get a vaccine and not die, that's also your choice. But like the mandate to do it. And, I honestly believe that if this protest weren't going on, like, you see how quickly, like, now, like, Dan Andrews is coming out with, like, his plan, and he's saying, like, oh, okay, now, like, as soon as we get to 60% vaccination, we're going to do this, and it's 70% on this date. Like, it's giving exact dates now. Before, it was just, like, indefinite. It's like, oh, yeah, maybe we'll just do this until COVID's gone, and that they might have done that. That just might have happened. And the reason why they're not doing it now is because there's, like, it's not working. Like, you lock these people inside their houses and they're going to get angry, and that's what they're doing right now. And they don't give a fuck because they'd rather be out there getting beaten up by the police and getting tased and getting tear gassed than sitting in their houses, like, slowly dying of, like boredom, slowly dying of, like, lack of social interaction. Which, like, I mean, you can look at the studies as, like a long term, one of the most dangerous things you can do to yourself is being socially isolated. Like, it has like such a high risk of mortality of like so many like, chronic diseases by like not having a strong social structure. And what happens when you do that to an entire city? Like, what is going to happen? And that's the reason why like these protesters are serving a very necessary function in the society, because if they weren't there, like none of this would be happening. None of these like the roadmap to getting out of lockdown would be happening. And it's because, like, by locking down so hard, it's become counterproductive. Like, if they had, like, some reasonable restrictions, we're not going to lock down, but everyone has to wear a mask inside, and, like, everyone has to, like, like respect social distancing, and just be chill. Just be chill, Like, be chill, get the vaccine, and we'll get through this. But instead, they had to go nuclear, and like the backlash now, like because like every time you see these protests that happen, like these are obviously by like selection bias, the most like anti-Kovacs people, right? And so they're the most likely to be out there, like, licking light poles just to prove a fucking point. Because, like, oh, I don't see no COVID. And so then, of course, they all get COVID. And then because they're all together, they all pass it to each other and the numbers skyrocket. And this wouldn't have happened if you had, like, a chill approach where, like, everyone was, you know, you just had a chill approach. This wouldn't be happening. But because you had to go nuclear, there's, like, the backlash happens. And these people come out to these super spreader events and spread COVID, makes it worse. It's just retarded. And that's why, like, we need. Big ups to the protesters. Shout out to the protesters in Melbourne for doing God's work. I don't know if I'd be joining them because I also don't want to catch COVID and die. But no, I'd be there. I'll be there to watch. Like, there's no way. Like, if I was living in Melbourne, I wouldn't go down to watch the protest. Like, I'm not trying to get beaten up by the police, but I'd be there. I'd be taking some photos. I'd be taking some video. I would totally do an interview with those people just to see what's up. Like, I'm sure there's some very, very interesting cats in that crowd, you know what I mean? Some of the interesting people I've ever met have been One Nation people. Like, when I was involved in politics, I was part of the Greens Party, and we were doing, like, the vote counting afterwards, and, like, you're there for a long time, and it's very boring, and there's lots of people from lots of different parties there, including One Nation, and I just got to talk to them, and I was like, why do you believe this? You know what I mean? Like, being on the far left, the exact opposite, and then, like, talking to these far right people. And you know what? We have a lot more in common than you would think, huh? People on the far left and the far right. It turns out we both hate this society. Wow. We have different ideas about how to get there, but we both, the thing with the far left and the far right is we both see the same problems, and we're both motivated to do something about those problems. And geez, am I 45 minutes in? I don't know. We'll save that one for next time. I don't know. I had some, the polarization of society. I feel like this whole left-right bullshit, I do think that, like, it is, in one sense, it's, like, innate to our physiology, our psychology. You're either born a lefty or a righty. And there's, like, there's, like, I don't know, Jordan Peterson says there's studies to back it up, so I guess I believe what he says. So why the fuck not? But no, it makes sense. Like, you look at the voting data and stuff. Like, people will, like, pick a side when they're young, and then they'll just, like, vote for that party for their whole life. There's like 10% of people that will, like, actually swap sides, like the independents. Everybody else is like, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm a Republican and I will vote Republican because I hate the Democrats, you know, right? And, like, it's just like that's why you get, like, an election that's 55-45, and that's like a landslide because, like, 50%, like 90% of people will vote for the same party no matter what all the time. And, like, I mean, it's funny, but it's just the way that it is. You can't. I don't think it's right to try and. This is like another stick in the mud point. You don't want to, like, argue against this because it's just the way that people are, and I think we need to start realizing that, right? But I think that the reason that the fact that we don't realize this, that we are innately born as lefties or righties, it means that, like, we try to suppress this, and then by trying to suppress this, it comes out in bad ways in the shadow form, which is where you see this polarization now, where, like, people on the left and people on the right will, like, just, like, go further and further away from each other, and they'll never be able to concede to each other because it becomes more about their team winning. It's like that sort of people see themselves as part of two different teams, the left and the right, that are engaged in a constant battle. And first of all, one thing I want to make very clear is that left and right only exist in opposition to each other. If there was no left, there would be no right. Because what would they have left to fight against? What they would do is if the left was to ever win, they were to ever defeat the right, and the right was gone, the first thing they do the next day is like, all right, now the 50% of people on the right-hand side of the left, you are now the right, and we now hate you. And that's exactly what's happened in any of these communist or fascist countries. Like, it's like a narrowing. It starts out with, like, oh, we're going to like give power to the people, the working class or whatever. Then as soon as they win, then they're like, all right, now you, like it narrows, it gets smaller. And that because there's always has to be like a battle going on, because otherwise these people have nothing left to do with their lives. And this is what needs to stop. We need to acknowledge that yes, we are born either left or right people, but also that we're not on two different teams here. We are on one team, and we're like playing two different positions on a team. It's like, can you imagine a basketball team that has only forwards, or a basketball team that has only guards? That's what happens when, like, you know, you have a country that has only leftists. Like, it just doesn't fucking work, because you need both people in the team to play the part. And just like in like a sports team, like, you know, you don't only play your position. You have to be able to play every position on the field, right? It's like sometimes the guard has to go in for like a layup. Sometimes the forward has to like carry the ball up the court. It's just what it is. And that's just like us with us. Like we can't live our lives being such a polarized left wing person, because like it's just no way to live. Like you'll be constantly just giving up your power because well, you don't believe, like, why would I believe I'm better than anyone else? Like, you'd never get anything done for yourself. Now, the same if you spent your whole life being just a right-wing person, you'd be a sociopath. You'd be Jeff Bezos. You'd be like richest man in the world with not a single friend. And doesn't that sound great? Like, there's these aspects within ourselves need to like integrate like both parts of them, and like realize when it's the right situation to adopt a left-wing attitude towards things, and the time when it's meant to adopt a right-wing situation towards things. And people are naturally talented on either one of these, and this is the reason why like societies need to work when these people are working together, because there's some things like I'd say like economically, like when it comes to common goods, things that everyone needs, like everyone, like, there's no need to go to the shop and have like 10 different brands of rice all competing. There's no need to have like fucking 10 different types of car insurances that are all competing. It's the same fucking thing. Like, if there was just like, you know, government brand rice, government brand like insurance, government brand like there is for water. You know, you turn on the tap, it's water. You don't have like, you know, like a Nestle tap or a Dasani tap that are like competing in your household. Like, if you want to go buy that luxury water, you can. It's available. But like, this is just fucking water, you know, because it's the same. Everyone drinks water. It's the same. Like, everyone needs car insurance. And like, if that was like done by the government, then there would be no need for like these companies to be like competing against each other. There'd be no need to give money back to the shareholders. It'd be cheaper for everyone. This is like the same if you look at like America, where they have like the private health system, most expensive in the world. Like, you come to Australia, much cheaper and much more effective. And it's just plain and fucking simple. But like, of course, they can't have that, because it's more about the football team winning. Like, oh, if we had legalized healthcare, or if we had like universal healthcare, then that means the left wins, and that means the right loses, and we can't have that. And it's like, that's what you get. That's what you get. This is you play stupid games. This is your stupid prize. It's not a fucking game. It's not a fucking horse race. It's not a football team that you're like, oh no, but yeah, it's like people like sometimes these positions don't even they contradict with each other. Like if you're a leftist, that means you have to be pro-abortion, and it means you have to be anti-gun, and it means you have to be like pro like environment. But it's like why just because I think that the Jeff Bezos should be taxed higher, does that mean that I should be anti-gun? I mean, like, why? Why do those two things? What do they have to do with each other? Like, it's just you pick a side, and like the left is like, oh, we'll have anti-guns. The right, okay, no, we will have like anti-immigration. Like, I mean, like, why just because I want universal healthcare, does that mean I have to be pro-open borders? I'm like. It doesn't even make sense from an economic standpoint. If you have like robust social welfare system, you need immigration control, because otherwise everyone's just going to come there and take your shit. It doesn't add up. It's not like, I guess this goes like, if one side was to have all the correct opinions, then they'd win and the game would be over, wouldn't it? So we can't have that. This is why they have to be split. So if ever one side was to win, then Well, you'd see who's really in charge then, wouldn't you? It's probably like they're pitting us against each other, you know? Someone's at the top, like, you know, dictating, like, okay, the left, you're not allowed, you're allowed one good opinion, but it has to be balanced out by one stupid opinion. And same with you on the right. You're allowed for each good opinion, you have to have at least two stupid ones so that people can keep arguing. Ain't that a bitch? So, at a micro level, something pissed me off on Facebook today, which it shouldn't, because I mean, like, damn, what a life, getting pissed off at things on Facebook. But I do think it's important to talk about this. This is something I was talking about with my therapist, is that like I can think that this shit's stupid, and I can think that I want to like push it under the rug, but then it'll just come out in other ways, and so then by like exploring it on the mic in front of my 100 million viewers who are going to see this, we can like help work it out. And by expressing it vocally, I can like work through why I'm actually a wrong, fucking retarded, dumb piece of shit about all this business. So, from this person on Facebook, friendly reminder, do not exclude AMAB non-binary people from the non-binary spectrum. What is an AMAB? I have no fucking clue, and you know what? I'm not going to look it up, because that's how little I give a fuck. So, do not exclude AMAB non-binary people from the non-binary system. They are not men. Stop clumping them in with men. Same goes for AFAB non-binary people. They are not women, so stop being like for the girls and the AFAB NBs. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, one, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. So, spending my time on the far left as I have, I am aware of some of these buzzwords, but, you know, there's a new one every day, isn't there? AMAB, AFAB. I'm just going to assume, because I'm not looking it up. I'm not playing this game. The only way to win is not to play. I don't even care. So I'm just assuming that means like people who say that they are non-binary, but they appear to be they appear to be the gender they were assigned at birth. So like, yes, I guess your random ass dude by the at the party who's like a dude with a beard and a beer gut, and he's like, oh, how you going to? He's like, oh, I'm non-binary, one of those, you know. So that those ones, they can't be excluded from non-binary circles, and I just think this is so funny. I mean, like, first of all, oh yeah. Then the poster says like, yeah, like instead of doing this, just say you're transphobic, and it's like, I mean, like no one who knows what these words mean is transphobic. I'm telling you right now. I'm just like, reality check. If you are the sort of person who knows what this means, who can understand this gobbledygook, who can understand your Creole, this language you've created, they are not the transphobes. They are not the transphobic ones. Like, no one, that you don't have these right-wing transphobic people on Urban Dictionary looking up, ooh, what is AMAB? What is AFAB? It's not them. It's not them. So that's already laughable. Just say you're transphobic. But it does make me angry though, because like, so I try to find within my heart some empathy for people who jump aboard this grift, because like I was young, and I went through a sort of like non-binary phase where I was like disillusioned with the whole like masculinity type thing. And I mean, like, look at me. I mean, I'm hardly the most masculine dude you can find. And it's just like, you know, I grew up and like culture said, oh, if you're a man, you gotta be like this, a toxic masculinity, you could say. And I was like, nah, whatever that is, I don't want to be that. I want to be this. And like, you know, and because I was like part of the far left circles at that time, like, I mean, it was actually pretty common. Like, if anything, I was like being one of the cool kids, just trying to fit in, being a non-binary. But I mean, like I was fooling myself, really. I mean, like, just because like you say you're non-binary doesn't mean you are. And there are obviously people, and this is like always true of every single conversation that ever happens about this topic, is that there's always true that this does apply to people. There are legitimate non-binary people out there. But then for every one of those, I reckon there's about 5 from my personal experience. Just like, I don't know, kids like me, but also just people on the internet who are like, just disillusioned with gender roles and like picking that, like, for whatever reason, but not because like they are actually non-binary. Like, I mean, I'm a dude. I fuck. I have a dick. I like women. I mean, like, I'm as like at a base level, I'm a guy. Like, I mean, all the like what cultural programming and stuff. Like, there is to a degree where like a lot of that is innate, where like men will obviously be like more likely to like have certain interests and do certain things. But then there's also a whole lot of bullshit that was just like culturally put there, where like, oh, it's a man's role to do this and it's a man's role to do that. And like, you don't have to believe in all that stuff. You don't have to believe in a traditional idea of what a man should be. Like, a man should be a big, strong, burly guy who likes sports and all this and all that, like works at the mines. You don't have to be one of those to like also, say that, yeah, I'm a man. And that was something that took me a long time to come to terms with. But another thing that I remember was that, like, becoming either a man or a woman is a pretty traumatic thing for a child, like an adolescent, to go from being like a child where you are, where boys and girls, you're like a lot. There's a lot less dimorphism, like, you're not sexual. You don't have like, you're just kids, right? And then when you become like, you go through puberty, you become men and women, and like it's sort of like it diverges. Where now you're you're not just a kid. You're expected to do like all the things that society expects a man to do or a woman to do, and obviously, like, yeah, a lot of that is toxic, but also a lot of it is just like nature and common sense. And so you got to thread the needle. So you gotta. Once again, it's the problem of polarization. So and so like doing the whole non-binary thing is like it's like a way to like put that off, to arrest that development, to stay a child for longer. And I feel like that was me back in when I was 18, when I was 19. I remember like I kind of like imagined this sort of utopia where like men and women like didn't even have gender roles and could just like, be themselves and be fluid and like, yeah, like just like not even view each other as men and women, just view each other as people. And that was like a deeply held desire that I had within me to live in a world like that. And so that's why like I look at these people and I have empathy in my heart for how they're feeling, because I was there and this is something that I truly did want. And it wasn't until later that like it's a utopia. It's not ever going to happen to live in a world like that. And I mean, because so much of the sex differences that make up men and women are innate, and there is part of like pick up your cross and bear it, where it's like where there's a reason why it's traditionally men that have gone off to fight in war. There's a reason why it's traditionally women who have been the stay-at-home parents, and it's because like this is like what our genetics and the what our bodies have been built to do. And I say this knowing that like obviously this doesn't apply to everyone. This is a generalization, and that's like it's always nothing. Always have to like do that like justification whenever I talk about this, because people always get angry about it. And I think that's like what actually triggers me the most about this is that like, so when I was doing that, right, I never like, this is like my personal beliefs and my personal opinions that I truly felt, but like I never tried to push this on to anyone else. Like I just didn't bother because I knew it wasn't worth it. Like, I mean, if you wanted to be like a masculine manly man who believes in manly things, then go do that. And, like, if not, then, like, I'm not going to bother you with my bullshit. And I never, like, post about it on Facebook or anything like that. Like, what these people do now with their all, like, buzzwords. Yeah. And, I think, like, so much of it is performative. And this is like, I resisted commenting on this and being like, getting into an argument, being like, actually, because then I'm just part of the show. They're doing a performance, and then now I'm just part of the show. And it's the same as the left, right? Like, never-ending argument bullshit. It's just it's baiting for an argument. And like, this is a very popular post. It has more likes than this video is probably going to get views. That's for sure. And I see people commenting and being like, like, oh, I see like they have like women in NB only spaces, and then like male NBs getting turned away, or male what's it called? What's the pronoun? I'm looking at there. Male AMAB NBs being turned away because they were not NB passing enough. And it's like, this is the left eating itself, man. Like, as soon as you like, like say like, oh, everyone like the goalposts move, everyone like to the right of here is bad. And then as soon as you won that battle, now everyone to the right of here is bad. It's just creating smaller and smaller, like pushing more and more people out, so you can just have a smaller and smaller in group. And the left will eat itself before it eats any of these rich cunts. I'll tell you that. And is that all I got to say for today? Yeah, we may as well end it there. Hey, well, it's been a pleasure. See you later, cunts.